Good evening, and welcome to another reminiscent version of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your remonstrative and remorseful host, Voice of Doom. Hello. Okay. Did a diatribe about a week ago. As you know, it's not on YouTube because I decided not to post it, which I very rarely do. I usually post all the crap I spew out, whether it's good or not, but this one I didn't like because it started off pretty good and then veered off and got boring, and I thought, nah. So I'll do it again because a lot has happened in the last week that I can add. But what I was basically talking about was a bunch of different things that kind of meld together. The difference between a boomer and the current crop of idiots that we see on our method of transmission today. And I was thinking about these demonstrators who are on the side of terrorists and basically cheering them on and saying how Israel is waging a war against civilians and all this other hoopla. And it got me to thinking about my childhood, where we did not have it quite as easy as your average snowflake in this day and age. Back in my day, when you were bullied, you had to deal with it because you just couldn't go to the authorities and get any kind of justice. It was only going to make things worse. And you deal with the bullying on your own terms, and things usually have a tendency to work out eventually. But there were different things that happened when I was in 6th grade. This would be the year of our Lord 1969 or so. And 6th grade was a time when you were almost finished with elementary school and you were going to move on to middle school, or we called it junior high school back in those days. And it was very scary and very exciting, and I ended up doing something completely different because between 6th and 7th grade we moved to Hawaii, and I had a whole different kettle of fish to deal with. I've told you about this already, so I won't go into it. But 6th grade, okay. We were the cock of the walk. We were the upperclassmen. We were it. And we had spent years in this elementary school, and we all knew each other for many years. We were all great buddies. Now, we had a couple of rites of passages during that time, and one of them was going to camp for 3 days. That was our reward for making it 6 years in elementary school, that we all got onto a bus and went off to a summer camp and had a good time. I mean, you can only picture it. You're with your best friends, you're in little cabins, and we're doing little pranks on each other, and we're having campfires, and we're eating at the mess hall where we had as much food as you could possibly want to eat, and just singing stupid songs and just having a great time and getting actually a little bit hyper because we were so happy. That was back when we were happy, when we were in elementary school. We weren't worrying about our gender. I had my own problems. I didn't say nothing to nobody. But it was fun. Now, that has nothing to do with anything, but I will tell you another thing that was a rite of passage for 6th graders back in 1969, because they did not pussyfoot around with us and decide they're snowflakes and they can't handle this and they're going to be triggered. Part of the rite of passage in 6th grade is we had to watch a movie. And now we're old enough to see this movie. And this movie is called Night and Fog. Most people don't know what the hell that is. But it was a movie that was a documentary and showed raw footage of the after effects of the Holocaust. It showed bodies in big piles, big, huge piles being bulldozed. Bodies that were unrecognizable as human beings. And this was the thing we watched. And they said, "You're going to watch this." And we were all aghast, and we're like, how can this kind of thing happen? Now, the demonstrators of today, this is what they need to do with these people in order to set them straight. I know there's footage. I know there is recordings of the atrocities of October 6th, 2024, or 23, or whatever it was. The Hamas atrocities where 1,200 people were killed, women were gang raped, babies were put in ovens. Now they use these horrendous images, but we aren't privy to any of that. You're not allowed to see it. We're just going to tell you what they did. Now certain people have seen it and they're aghast. And I'm saying right now to all you people who are in charge of these things, get that footage out to everybody where they can see it. And if these demonstrators are arrested and pulled out of their campuses because they're shouting, the praises of Hamas, then part of your sentence is going to be, you're going to watch this, and if we have to frickin' tape your eyeballs open like Clockwork Orange and keep your head to where we're going to put eye drops in your eyes, but you're going to stare at this, then let them stare at it. Because if babies were put in ovens, and if people were dismembered, and if women were gang raped and girls were gang raped, then you better damn well show it. Because the S is hitting the F. And so we better get on with either trying to educate some people on reality or get ready for the conflagration, which we know is coming. So that's how I tied those two things together. Because these snowflakes in Harvard or Yale or wherever the hell they're freaking yelping, I don't even remember now, Georgetown, better know who they're rooting for, because their karmic retribution is going to be severe, extremely severe, and they better get it together or they're going to spend lifetime after lifetime for millennia in misery. So I'm trying to help them. But everybody should see it if it actually happened. I don't like hearing about atrocities but not knowing if it's true or not, because if these people are making up hyperbole to, exacerbate a war, then they're just as bad as the ones that perpetrated the atrocities in the first place. So there better be some truth out there. They better just say, look, we got to show you what happened, and you're going to see it, and now you're going to realize, what if it was your kid being put in a microwave? What if it was your kid being killed in his crib, or her? So, if it's bad, it's bad. It's got to be seen. It wasn't fun to watch bodies being bulldozed on that screen when I was in 6th grade. But they made us watch it. And they didn't even go into any histrionics or any pontificating afterwards. It's just like, this is what happened in history. Make of it what you will. Nobody preached this afterwards. We had a discussion, but it was more or less just, here's what can happen if you let things get out of hand. So I wanted to put that in there. Now, a couple little snippets and snippets from the, current events. Let's see. One little thing. A barge went into a bridge in Galveston. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's gotten about 3 minutes of coverage on the news, but it's another mishap where another bridge is crashed into, and another barge or whatever spills out a couple 100,000 gallons of oil into the bay, the harbor. So, but nobody wants to talk about that, because then people will go, wait a minute, why are all these bridges being plowed into? And from the footage I saw, it looks like that bridge didn't have any room to go anywhere under that barge, didn't have anywhere to go under that bridge except into the pylon. So who knows? There's obviously sabotage going on, and nobody wants to admit it, because we're waiting for the big one, and then we'll see what happens, because inevitably, and it is a foregone conclusion and an absolute 100% chance, there will be a major black swan event in the next 6 months. It's gotta be. And it could be almost anything. There's a whole list of things it could be. It could be sabotage. It could be poisoning the water system. It could be breaking up a few dams. It could be floods. It could be famine. It could be pandemics. It could be a real pandemic or a fake pandemic. It can be almost anything, because nobody knows the truth anymore, do they? So if they say there's a pandemic, there's a pandemic. Or maybe there's a real pandemic, H1N1, bird flu, Nipah Hanipah, 80% fatal. So if any of these things start to creep into the mainstream, then what if there's real bodies being put into dump trucks? Bring out your dead, Monty Python. Could happen, and I know it's going to happen, because we can't have an election. That's out of the question. It can't happen, because no matter what happens, it's bad. There's no upside to anything. Orangey wins. Yes, I'm going to bring back all the policies I had before and get America back on track. The world's going to catch on fire. He's not going to be allowed to do any of that. He's going against the left, he's going against the right, he's going against the grain. So not only will the left-wing idiots burn down every city if he's elected, but the powers that be and the elitists will also do their best to alleviate him from any responsibility. So we can't have an election, but here's what's going on now. Petri dish. He's finally up against the wall, and it's like, I have to say something about debates, because we can't just have a presidential so-called election without debates. I'm ready to debate. I beat him twice already in the debates. And, yeah, you want to have a debate, just make my day. Using all these old cliches from 50 years ago. Make my day. Let's rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Come on. Petri dish in a debate with Orangey. So Petri makes all kinds of demands on, if we're going to have a debate, it's going to be with the friendly guys that like me. No audience to jeer at me. And no open mic so that Orangey can keep interrupting me. Now, I didn't like Orangey interrupting either in the last debates, but you can only put up with lies so much before you have to say, hey, wait a minute. I didn't like the way Petri is like, I never took a cent from Russia. The only guy that got anything from Russia is this guy. Total lie, made up from lies, from whole cloth, lies upon lies upon lies. Orangey had nothing to do with taking anything from Russia. Why the hell would he? He doesn't need the money. So, he's an agent of Putin. Come on, that's been debunked. And yet Petrie will continue to say it. Now, we know Petrie took a lot of money from everywhere. But since we all know the story, the whole damn mainstream media is on his side, so they're not going to even report it. And the Congress they don't have even spines. They're spineless. They're jellyfish. Because they always come up with these, we're going to impeach and we're looking into it. And then what happens? Nothing. We're not going to look into Petri dish anymore. Who cares about Hunter Biden? Let's look into the FCC rules on whether or not we should have telecommunications from China. Whatever. TikTok, give me a break. They're working on minutia because they know they can't. Impeach Petri dish because the Senate is a useless organization that should be dismantled. There should be not one senator left in the United States. So that's been happening. So you got your barges crashing into bridges and another bridge that'll never be built again. And Nancy Pelosi, she irked the hell out of me. She's on a news program. She says, we lost more jobs during Orangey's administration than any time in history. And the left-wing liberal wokester idiot actually said, well, that was because of the pandemic, right? And she's like, are you on his side or what? I told you he lost more jobs than anybody. She is a piece of work. And she got trounced by some academic in some debate where she was just absolutely incoherent. I could do better high on mushrooms. Do much better than she did. And then this guy just tore her apart, and I don't know what became of that, but she's a useless organism, and her departure from this mortal coil will be a blessing upon us all, along with a lot of other people. But I'll leave it at that. I just wanted to get that stuff out that I wanted to say, and I think it's a little better than the last one. So I'm sure I'll post this. Have a good day, everybody. I'm sure it will be fine. Goodbye.